Hello viewers, hope you're all well. Before I begin, I would request all my viewers to check the description box of this video. Let's start with test number 2, question number 1. You are a project manager working for a large utility company. You have been assigned the responsibility to manage a project that performs monthly security vulnerability assessments and address any identified vulnerabilities. You question the assignment because a. Security vulnerability assessment do not materially contribute to your organization's products and should not be considered important enough to be classified as a project. B. The endeavor cannot be considered a project because no start date is specified. C. The recurring nature of the assessment in addition to the lack of ending date means that this endeavor is not a project at all. D. A security vulnerability assessment produces no specific product, so it is not a project. Here, option C is the correct answer. As explained in this question, recurring security vulnerability assessments with no ending date cannot be considered as a project. Projects must have time boundaries. Option A is incorrect because the project does not have to be directly related to an organization's main product. Option B is incorrect because the lack of a specific start date in the question description would not automatically disqualify the assessment as a project. Option D is incorrect because a security vulnerability assessment does not create at least one product. Question number 2. Which product knowledge area contains the processes that ensure the project includes the work required to successfully complete the project and no more? A. Project scope management. B. Project quality management. C. Project integration management. D. Project risk management. Option A is the best answer. Project scope management is mainly concerned with defining the work a project needs to accomplish. This definition is used to ensure all the necessary work is done and no unnecessary work is done. Option B, C, and D are incorrect because these knowledge areas focus on areas of a project other than scope. Question number 3. You are managing a project that will implement a new accounting software package. You have assigned the resources, both personal and equipment, and want to keep the IT manager in the loop by informing her of your decisions. Which type of organizational structure are you working in? A. Projectized. B. Strong matrix. C. Weak matrix. D. Functional. Option B is correct. In a strong matrix, the project manager has the preeminent position of authority. Because the functional manager does still have authority, a good project manager will keep the functional manager in the loop as much as possible. Option A is incorrect because projectized organizations do not have functional managers. Option C and D are incorrect because in a weak matrix, in a functional organization, the project manager does not have great authority than the functional manager. The project manager would have to defer to the functional manager, not just keep her in the loop. Question number 4. During your accounting software implementation project, two project team members have difficulty working together. They come to you, the project manager, for help with resolving the issues. You immediately set up a meeting that includes the functional manager. After the meeting, you and the functional manager discuss the issues and agree on a solution. This type of management probably indicates you are working in what type of organizational structure? A. Functional. B. Weak matrix. C. Balanced matrix. D. Projectize. Option C is correct. In a balanced matrix, the project manager and functional manager work together to meet the needs of the department and the project. Option A and B are incorrect because the functional manager has greater authority and would likely handle problems directly in a functional or weak matrix structure. Option D is incorrect because the project manager would handle such issues directly in a projectized organization. Question number 5. Which of the following statements best describes the influence of stakeholders over the life of a project? A. Stakeholders ultimately direct all project activities. B. Stakeholder influence is low at the beginning and tends to grow throughout the project. C. Stakeholder influence is the highest at the beginning and tends to decrease throughout the project. D. Stakeholders do not directly influence the project's outcome, they only provide authority and resources. In this particular question, option C is the best answer. Stakeholder influence is greatest at the beginning of a project. When the initial objectives are being developed, the stakeholders have a lot of input. After the main project parameters are agreed upon, the project manager and project team start working on those objects and the stakeholder involvement decreases. Option A is incorrect because the project manager, not the stakeholders, direct project activities. Option B and D are incorrect because they do not reflect the stakeholder involvement. Question number 6. During your accounting software implementation project, you find that training is not progressing as quickly as the schedule requires and the users are not well trained after the sessions are over. After investigating the cause, you find that the trainers you have retained do not have the proper experience and knowledge to effectively train your users. Which statement best describes the effect on the project and the effect of the action required to fix the problem? A. The schedule is suffering. To fix the situation, you have to hire more experienced trainers and schedule extra training sessions. Your schedule returns to planned values while cost increases. B. The quality and schedule are being negatively impacted. To fix the situation, you likely have to hire more experienced trainers at a higher rate and schedule extra training sessions. Quality and schedule return to planned values while cost increases. C. This problem is the responsibility of the organization that provided the trainers. They provide replacement trainers who are qualified at the same price to continue the training required. D. Although your training looks like it is behind schedule, you wisely build in enough slack time to cover such a problem. You simply find replacement trainers and continue the training. In this particular question, option B is correct. The question states that training is not meeting the schedule and the result is the training is not getting people properly trained. This means both schedule and quality are suffering. Of all the solutions, option B provides the best description of the effect on your project. Option A is incorrect because it does not mention the impact on project quality. Option C is incorrect for several reasons. The problem might be the responsibility of the organization that supplied the trainers, but the responsibility for the impact on the project is the project managers. Option C also ignores the quality issue. Option D is incorrect because it implies that the project manager padded the schedule. This is not an ethical practice. Your estimates should be realistic. If you expect such problems to occur, you should address them in the beginning of the project, along with appropriate recovery methods. By padding the schedule, you hide a real risk to the project. Question number 7. You have just completed the defining activities, estimating activity resources, and estimating activity duration processes. Which process have you left out? A. Sequence activities. B. Develop schedule. C. Control schedule. D. Create work breakdown structure. Option A is correct. The PMBOK places sequencing activities between defining activities and estimating activity resources. Option B, C, and D are incorrect because they do not follow the PMBOK flow. You will see questions similar to this one on the PMP exam. Question number 8. To whom does the PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct apply? A. PMPs and PMP candidates. B. All project managers. C. All persons who are PMI members or hold a PMI certification. D. All PMI members. Option C is the best answer. The PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct applies to all PMI members, all persons who are not PMI members but hold a PMI certification, and anyone who serves in a volunteer capacity for PMI. Question number 9. What is the most important goal of the PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct? A. To advance the profession of project management. B. To weed out unethical project managers. C. To address known ethical weaknesses of inexperienced project managers. D. To help project managers increase their skill levels. Option A is correct. The main goal of the PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct is to advance the profession as a whole. While the other goals are a part of the code, they are only part of the overall goal of advancing the profession. Question 10. You have access to proprietary information a vendor included as part of a bid proposal. The information was marked confidential and was included to show that the vendor would be issued a patent by the end of the month, which makes this company's bid the best candidate for your company and significantly improves the market share of the vendor. What do you do with this information? A. Invest in the company immediately. B. Tell your friends to invest in this company. C. Wait until the information becomes public knowledge and then decide if you want to invest in the company. D. Provide the proprietary information to a competing vendor. Option C is the best response. You have a responsibility to maintain and respect the confidentiality of sensitive information obtained in the course of professional activities. This responsibility makes option A and B incorrect. You have a responsibility to recognize and respect intellectual property developed and owned by others, which makes option D an incorrect choice. Question number 11. You are a project manager working on a project that has had numerous change requests from the customer that have resulted in scope creep. The project is over schedule and over budget. The remaining scope entails preferred user requirements that do not affect the operation of the application. You can complete the project this month if you reduce the scope and remove these preferred user requirements. What do you do? A. Continue with the project and complete the remaining scope. B. Explain to the customer the benefits of reducing scope and make the customer sign off on this final change request. C. Reduce the scope, do not document this change and tell the customer the project has been completed. D. Explain to the customer that the preferred user requirements are not possible and get the customer to sign off on this final change request, reducing the project scope. Option A is the best response. You have a responsibility to maintain and satisfy the scope and objectives of the professional services, unless otherwise directed by your customer. Option B, C, and D require manipulation of your customer and or falsification of information which is not in compliance with professional conduct. Question number 12. You are a project manager who has noticed that one of your team members is visibly agitated. The team member is upset because of pictures displayed in another team member's cubicle. The pictures are clearly visible and do not appear objectionable to you. What should you do? A. Encourage the upset team member to stop making a big deal over nothing. B. Meet with the team member who has displayed the pictures, making a few jokes to keep it light, then suggest that the pictures be displayed in a less obvious place. C. Meet with the team member who is upset and try to understand the basis of the concern. Work with the team member to find an acceptable solution. D. Notify human resources that there is a personal problem that needs attention. Option C is the best choice. One aspect of respect is listening to others and trying to understand them. Your best option is to start with the team member who is agitated and try to understand the cause of the agitation. You might find that the objection is valid after you have heard the other person's point of view. Option A and B do not show respect to your team member, and option D just attempts to pass the responsibility to someone else. Question number 13. While leading a project status meeting, a functional manager disagrees with a decision you have made and makes it a point to be very vocal about it. He uses the meeting to express his doubts about your skills and even goes so far as to suggest that your race plays a part in the way you make decisions. How should you react? A. Do nothing, file a complaint with the manager's boss after the meeting. B. Use your authority as the meeting leader to take control of the discussion and present your rebuttal. C. Suggest an immediate meeting between the two of you to discuss your differences. D. Bring the manager's boss into the meeting and ask for assistance in addressing his comments. Option C is the correct answer. The PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct requires that you act in a professional manner even when others do not. Option A is incorrect because doing nothing solves nothing. Going to the manager's boss is likely to make the situation worse, so it's not better. Option B is incorrect because it is an emotional response, not a professional one. Option D is incorrect because you should always first attempt to solve differences one on one. Question number 14. Your spouse works for a vendor that is bidding on a project at your company. You are not affiliated with the specific project team that is evaluating bids, but you are part of the executive project team. What do you do? A. Inform your company of the relationship. B. Inform the vendor of the relationship. C. Both A and B are correct. D. Disqualify the vendor. Here, option C is the correct answer. You have a responsibility to disclose to both the vendor and your company significant circumstances that could be construed as a conflict of interest or an appearance of impropriety. Option A and B are both correct, but they are not the best responses. Option D is not correct. You have an obligation to disclose the information. Your company and the vendor can decide the best course of action given the information. Question number 15. You work for a US based company hired to perform project management services in a foreign country. Other companies that have done business in this country inform you that gifts must be made to the government to obtain the necessary project approvals. What do? A. Offer the recommended gifts to obtain project approvals. B. Do not offer gifts to obtain project approvals. C. Ignore the need for project approvals. D. Both B and C. In this particular question, option B is the best response. Option A is not correct because you have a responsibility to refrain from offering inappropriate gifts for personal gain. The exemption regarding conformity with applicable laws or customs of the country where project management services are being performed does not apply because you are working for a US based company and are subject to US laws. Option C and D are incorrect because you have a responsibility to comply with laws and regulations in the country where providing project management services requires project approvals. Viewers, if you find value in this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and pressing the bell icon. Thank you.